All right, so we're going to do the imperfect here. Use the imperfect tense to talk about actions that, what did we decide, happened repeatedly, were ongoing. Let's write that. All right. So the great thing about the imperfect is you've only got 5 verb charts to deal with, right? You've got AR verb charts. Oh, sorry. In English, you often say used to, or was, or were, fill in the blanking, studying, talking, reading, dying. That says were and not we. It's because it's we as in little bitty. No. All right. AR verbs. Aba. Abas. Aba. Abamos. Aban. IR verbs. Ia. Ias. Ia. Iamos. Ian. Those all have accents. Let me draw a little line here. The verb ir, which means to go, the verb ser, and the verb ver. Ir is iba, ibas, iba, oop, ibamos, iban. Ser, era, I don't know why I decided to capitalize it. Eras, era, éramos, eran. Ver. Veía. Veías. I can hear your whispers, you silly fool. Veía. Veíamos. Veían. Okay? Why did I draw the line? Because all of these verbs over here only have accents in the nosotros form. And all these verbs over here have accents everywhere. Got it? That's the ER-IR verbs minus these weirdos. Okay? The imperfect form of haber is not on your test, but let's just write it había. Okay. Keywords are helpful on your final, I know, because I wrote it. So, ayer, what's it a keyword for? Preterite, good. Anoche. Preterite. Todos los días. Imperfect, sounds like it happened more than once. Siempre. Imperfect. El viernes pasado. In what? Preterite, people. Preterite. Anything pasado is going to be preterite. All right? El año pasado. Preterite. Los viernes. Imperfect. Anything, almost anything that's plural is going to be the imperfect. Nunca. Imperfect. Even though that sounds like it never happened, which means 0. It means all of those thousands of times it could have happened that it didn't. El otro día. Preterite means the other day. A menudo. Imperfect. A menudo, you might want to write it, means often. And often would help you remember imperfect. A veces. I don't know why I'm writing the translation. Imperfect. Shut up and don't judge me. Usualmente, imperfect. Almost all of the mente words are imperfect because they usually go with like usually, generally, normally. You've got a few like finalmente, which literally has the word final in it. So it's a preterite keyword. We'll get back on track. Hace 3 horas que. That looks like it's plural because it's got 3 horas, but it means 3 hours ago, which is preterite, right? I'm telling you 3 hours ago I did something, it's over. So that's a preterite phrase. It could be hace 2 años que, and it would still be preterite because I'm still telling you I know when it happened. Cuando era niña or niño, that whole sentence is going to be imperfect. If you start the sentence with cuando era pequeña, Cuando era niño. It's all imperfect after that. That's a Throwback Thursday sentence. Un día. Preterite. Good job, good job, good job. Esta mañana. This morning. Preterite. Cada día. Any cada implies more than once, and we don't know how many times. So cada mañana or cada día. A review? Hold on. So keep in mind there's exceptions to all of these, right? I can say this morning when I was driving to school, this happened. I'm not doing that to y'all right now. I just want to get y'all comfortable with the basic rules, but there's exceptions to everything. So you're welcome for the complexity that is Spanish. Alexa, how about I just give you mine when I'm done? All right. So, moving right along. Next page. Preterite versus imperfect. Good times. Things to think about when you're trying to remember preterite versus imperfect. So I got my little preterite notes right there. And I got my imperfect notes right there. First of all, cada día. No. Used to. And was blanking. That's two of them. If I say mientras in a sentence, the entire sentence is imperfect, okay? Because mientras means while. Matthew, could you at least feign interest? Mientras means while, and that indicates that something was going on, and ongoing actions in the past are imperfect, right? So something was going on while something else was going on, so it's imperfect on both sides. No matter what. Even though in English it sounds like it's preterite, it's not. It's imperfect. English is just a little jacked up. All right. If I start a sentence with, I already said this, cuando era niña, or cuando era pequeña. Oh my gosh, guys. That's so upsetting. Yeah, that says pequeña. Goodbye, dear friend. Cuando era pequeña. There. Any sentence that starts with that, when I was a child. It could also start with de niña or de pequeño, right? Any of that stuff, the entire sentence is going to be imperfect. Because I'm just casting this whole blanket of a story about what I used to do, and everything's going to be imperfect. All right? The other thing is basically description in the past. I could literally write out wet broads and go through the acronym with you. Weather, what kind of weather is it? A weather description, right? Yes. Because a weather event, it rained yesterday, that's preterite. Y'all remember that? So I could write out the whole acronym, but I feel like these, if I'm trying to memorize the least amount of stuff possible, this is what you need to know. Let's add one more. Time and date and age. Okay. Time and date don't make sense to me that they would be the imperfect, but they are. So I have to memorize those. Time and date and age, actually. The rest of it all makes sense to me. I can't put my finger on when it started or ended. I can't put it in a little capsule, right? So it's the imperfect. It's imperfect. It's not perfect. So, what did I tell you, Lily? All right. So, time and date and age. But then the last thing I'll tell you, don't get caught up on the fact that I said the age at the beginning of the sentence. Oh, so the whole thing's imperfect. No. If I say, when I was 11, I broke my arm. How many times did I break my arm? Once. So it's imperfect at the beginning because I'm using the verb was to discuss my age, right? I'm actually using tener to say I had 11 years. But anyway, I'm discussing my age with the imperfect, but the rest of the sentence, I'm talking about that one thing that happened that one time, right? Which, by the way, gets into the quando effect. Y'all remember quando effect? It is like it should be your best friend. So basically, any sentence that has quando in it is going to have imperfect on one side and preterite on the other. That's it. Now, any sentence other than cuando era niña, cuando era pequeño. Cuando era niña, cuando era pequeño, those are going to be imperfect all over the place. But if I said, cuando yo tenía 11 años, this happened, I already know that if I said tenía at the beginning of the sentence, that's the imperfect. What's the second part? Preterite, period. I like to know these rules and use them, but then go back and double check myself. Cuando yo tenía 11 años, me rompí el brazo. All right? So, back again, cuando effect. I said imperfect at the beginning, and I said I broke my arm at the end of the sentence, right? Okay, so cuando effect, that works. But also, how many times did I break my arm? 1. So it double checks, I'm good to go. Make sense? Nolan, what's your question?
So is it always imperfect on the left and preterite?
No. It depends. Somebody asked if you could switch it. So, like, when I was 11 years old, I broke my arm, right? Could I switch and put preterite on the beginning of the sentence and imperfect at the end? Yes, but it would be the same sentence, right? It would be, I broke my arm when I was 11 years old. Same thing. Does that make sense to everybody? So, yes, the preterite and imperfects can be on whatever side. So, if you ever see cuando, double check that it's not cuando era niña, cuando era pequeña, not one of those throwback sentences. If it's not, then find the other verb and figure out if that's preterite imperfect, and the other one's the opposite. Period. Okay? If you see mientras, it's imperfect and perfect. You're done. All right. So that is it on that. Let's go through this paragraph in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. All right. El otro día yo. Why is it fui? The other day. Good job, Señor 94. All right. I went a la casa de mi amiga Rosa para jugar videojuegos con ella. De niña siempre jugábamos. Why? Because I said siempre, right? Also, de niñas. You got 2 reasons to choose it. I do like finding 2 reasons to choose every answer. It makes me feel better about my answer being right. Okay. Mientras caminaba por el parque, el sol. Whoa, we're right here, sir. Shut up, I wasn't paying attention. Joke's on you, Miss Mershan. All right, so escuchaba, thank you, el nuevo disco compacto. That's a CD, guys. Those are still hip. The Taylor Swift. All right, so yes, I had mientras, which means imperfect. And again, if I'm putting myself in the situation, while I was walking to her house, did I listen to Taylor Swift for 1 split second? Don't answer me, people that judge Taylor Swift. No, I was ongoing listening to Taylor Swift the whole time, right? All right, yes. El clima. So, the weather. And then I'm about to say perfecto. What is perfecto? Right, which is an adjective, if you will. It's a description. Thank you. So I am describing the weather. So it is era. Good job. The sun shone or the sun was shining? The sun was shining, right? The sun was shining, and it seemed like all the elephants. It seemed like all of the animals were just getting along so well. So it seemed like preterite or imperfect? Is this a preterite action? Like while the sun was shining, all of a sudden the animals started playing. No. The sun was shining, the animals were playing, right? So it's ongoing. Your test is not like this. And if I have ando, what is it? Imperfect or preterite? If I have ando, that's this right here, the was blanking. If I have was blanking, it's imperfect, okay? So, estaban jugando en el parque también. It was a perfect walk. Description in the past. Era una caminata perfecta. Cuando? I just said? Cuando. And I said the preterite, llegué, which means the next one's going to be imperfect. And if you think about it, when I got to the house, Rosa was already waiting for me. She had been there. She was waiting. That makes sense. It's not like she waited for me and then was done. I'm going to speed right up here. Empezamos. We started playing. Normally you start playing something once, so it's preterite. A jugar a las 3 de la tarde, pero it was 8 o'clock at night. I'm discussing time right here, so that becomes imperfect. This was a start time, and I'm not using a verb to tell time, and that's why that was preterite. Decidimos, we decided once. We said goodbye once, and I returned to the house once.